Welcome to the Build Your Own Business podcast. My name is Lauren Lomsdale, and I am a serial entrepreneur who has started, scaled, and grown several businesses over the past 12 years. And together with my husband, we have helped hundreds of clients do the same. This podcast is for those small business dreamers who are wanting to take the leap into starting their very own business, as well as those business owners who have big dreams of scaling their business. We provide step-by-step how-to guidance, discuss growing pains in your business, and give real-life business lessons and advice that you can apply to your own business. So BYOB and pull up a seat because we are going to build your business. Hey everyone, welcome back to another podcast of the Startup Collective. My name is Lauren Lomsdale, and I am so excited to have actually my very first guest on this podcast here with us, and her name is Heather Jones. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So as all of you guys know who follow me on my podcast or on socials, I'm in Okinawa, Japan. And Heather, remind me, I know you're in the Midwest, but I can't remember exactly where.
I'm not.
Right?
I'm in the South. I'm in
No.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, that's right. Because I know the time zone is different than East Coast, because that's usually where I'm like calculating my times.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So we are doing this, virtually and completely opposite time parts of the world, which is part of military life, of course. And Heather is also a military spouse, and the joys of entrepreneurship, just making things work when we're just not next to each other, but that's okay. We can still make them work. So Heather is the owner and CEO. What would I call you as your title, you
All the
think?
things. I'm a
All the things.
solopreneur, so you can call me any of the titles and they'd
She,
all be accurate.
she is the owner, the CEO, the social media manager, the content creator. She is all of the things at Heather Jones Coaching, which is a coaching program for entrepreneurs, which is perfect because this is exactly our listeners are those entrepreneurs or small business dreamers or just getting started in their small businesses and really need that extra push of, okay, what now? What do I do now? And it can feel so overwhelming. So I'm so excited to have you here with us today. So I'd like to start off with just kind of learning about your journey to entrepreneurship. Everyone has kind of their own individual journey, and I'd love to hear about yours.
So thank you for asking.
Yeah.
My journey was long, so I'm going to keep it as succinct as possible, but it's not short. So let's just say that to start. So let's see, I'll give you a rundown.
Sure.
So when I decided to become an entrepreneur, it wasn't even officially an entrepreneur. I was a stay-at-home mom
Yeah.
out of out of necessity, kind of out of desire. Military life. I don't think I need to elaborate.
Yeah.
We can all kind of understand
Yeah.
that
And
phase.
motherhood too, I think. Yeah. I totally understand.
Yeah. So necessity, desire, kind of all mixed in there. I was a stay-at-home mom.
Hmm.
Never really thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. So no surprise when the itch came to have something more to
Yeah.
be doing than
Hmm. Hmm.
the homemaker thing.
Sure.
And so I actually started my journey, and I will argue that it's not entrepreneurship, but it's kind of like the gateway to entrepreneurship through an
Okay.
MLM or
Okay.
multi-level
Yeah.
marketing
Yeah.
for folks.
Sure.
Direct sales, it's called a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that is actually kind of where I started to scratch that itch,
Hmm.
where I had a little
Hmm.
something on the side.
Sure.
Um, did that for a few years, realized, okay, this is not entrepreneurship. But what's cool? Learned that I really did want to have my own business. I was
Sure.
like, I'm digging this stay at home and have an
Yeah.
income thing.
Uh-huh.
That's how I got on into entrepreneurship. So my first like official business that really did belong to me was an Etsy shop. I
Okay.
started an Etsy shop doing crochet stuff like
Oh, how
tags.
fun.
Yeah, these cool little, they're still my favorite. Occasionally I still sell them at Christmas for fun,
Uh-huh.
but they're these little crochet F-bombs.
Oh,
They're
cute. Oh, like little bombs that are,
yeah, I have one out of my reach. I can't show you, but
yeah.
yeah, it's like this little stuffy, this size for people who
Uh-huh.
can't see. It's like, I don't know, what size would you say that is? What size ball?
Like a
Ball?
baseball. Was it bigger than a baseball or smaller than a
Softball. It's
baseball?
also
Yeah.
a softball. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got a red F on the front, and so it's
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's a play
Like
on me loving to cuss.
speaking
So
my love language here.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny. It goes over really well for like Dirty Santa or
Yes.
Little
Yes.
Elf.
That's
Anyways, I ended up with three Etsy shops at
okay.
one.
Wow.
Eventually ended up closing all of them except for one that's kind of quietly in limbo in the background doing nothing because someday
Yeah.
maybe I'll go back. Kind of one of those
Yeah.
situations. But for a series of reasons, I just couldn't keep the Etsy shops going, not
Yeah.
the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Handmade goods are tough to keep up with and
Oh, I'm
really
sure.
make
Yeah.
really good money. You can only create what you can create with your own
Right.
two hands, and then
Right.
scaling becomes a whole different beast. So,
Yeah.
um, in a very, very roundabout way, that's what led me to life coaching.
Okay.
It was like a Google search. What can I do from home to make money that's
Yeah.
scalable?
Yeah.
When I saw life coach and all of the list of things that you can do, it
Of course.
really popped out at me. I'm like, okay, there's
Uh-huh.
something here. Let me see what
Yeah.
this is. And so that's what I did. I dived in, I looked at it, got certified, and that was almost 4.5 years ago. They started this certification
Yes.
program. And so
Yeah.
this is definitely where it's at for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to what you were talking about with entrepreneurship almost coming out of necessity of motherhood. I myself was in the same situation where I didn't really expect to be a stay-at-home mom. I thought I was going to be a teacher and I would have summers off with my kids. Like that's how I thought it was going to be. And then as I started having kids, it was one of those things where I was like, I need to do something for me. And I think a lot of people can relate to that because I don't think many people come to entrepreneurship as like little kids being like, I'm going to own my own business one day. I think we all come to it out of, not all, but some of us come to it out of somewhat life necessity, whether it's needing something for yourself as mothers or just people who need to do something for their life circumstances that bring them to entrepreneurship or end up having that drive to do it. So I think that's super relatable. So life coaching, what do you think made it stand out to you more than some of the opportunities you could have to build a business in a different way? I know some of us choose what we do, or we end up going down that path because we want something we're moms, we want something that we can stay at home, we can do mostly virtually. But what were some of the things that really called you to life coaching?
Okay, so I can tell you immediately the very specific for me. The
Uh-huh.
thing that stood out to me about life coaching first was because approximately a decade and a half
Yeah.
prior to that moment in time, a cousin who I was very close with, and I say that because like her opinion mattered to me,
Sure.
said to me one day out of the blue, I was working like for the government at the time,
Okay.
doing
Okay.
IT and logistics of all
Yeah.
things. And my cousin says, Heather, you should be a life coach. And I'm like, mind you, this is a very long time ago. It wasn't
Yeah.
as, common as it is today. And I was like, life
Sure.
coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like what?
But she gave me the kind of the rundown. Like you
Yeah.
help people thrive and move through things where they're stuck in other things. And I
Yeah.
was like, in one ear and out the other
Uh-huh.
because it's
Uh-huh.
not the stage of life that I was in at the time. I had
Right.
a job. I was doing
Right.
really what I did. But that is why immediately it caught my eye. I'm like, oh, somebody I love and care about
Yeah.
and respect their opinion said this to me at one point. So that is why I read about it. And then when I started to learn what it's really about, it occurred to me everything that I've ever done
Uh-huh.
as an adult outside of the army because
Yeah.
I'm an army veteran. I did that at 18 for 6 years, and then everything after that point that I pursued was because I wanted to do something to make people smile or
Yeah.
to make them better than I found them.
Okay. Wow.
And
Yeah.
so as I read that, I'm like, everything that I did, it led to that moment,
Yeah.
finding that that's exactly what I get to do now.
That's so awesome. That's like a full circle moment, right? That you have an instance in your past that seems, in passing, just not significant. And then it comes back around and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's almost like when you have something from your vision board come to life and like you don't even realize that it did. And then you look back at your vision board and you're like, oh my God, like I actually put that on my vision board. And yeah, I totally understand it. So I would really like to know once you saw that and you saw, okay, life coach, maybe I should do this. What were your first steps of like the next stage of entrepreneurship? So you see life coach in your Google search or whatever you were looking at. What was your next step to start your business?
So I Googled, how do you become a life coach?
Yeah.
And there was a whole bunch of information that came up about needing to be certified versus not needing to be certified. Essentially, you don't have to be certified to
Yeah.
become a life coach. There's no like governing agency, if you will, that tells us how we have to do what we do,
Hmm.
kind of thing.
Right.
But I knew nothing about it. So
Right.
I opted to get certified so I could learn how to become a life coach and so I could learn to do it in a way that would be the absolute most impact that I could leave people
Sure.
with.
Sure.
And so very shortly after I did that, I signed up
Oh,
to
wow.
get certified and I started my training probably this is rough. I don't know exact timeline. I'd say within 6 months, I
Okay.
decided what I wanted to do when I was ready to go do it. So
Yeah.
that's what that looked like.
Wow, crazy. Okay. One of the biggest questions that I get, not only from entrepreneurs who are just starting their entrepreneur journey, but also even with my VA students over at the Work from Home Millspo, is okay, well, how do I find clients? Like that's the biggest, scariest thing, right? How do I find clients? How do I find customers? You have this small business dream, you have this idea of what you want to do, but we're all in it to have some sort of income come in, right? Maybe not making 100K months, but we are looking for that income. That's what entrepreneurship is. So what was that like for you, that journey to your very first client?
Oh, I will give you the good, bad, and ugly.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly
in the
what I
interest
want.
of
Yeah.
really letting people know what it feels like to be an entrepreneur day in,
Yeah.
day out.
Uh-huh.
Because I came from an MLM, right?
Uh-huh.
A multi-level marketing,
Yeah.
you're taught cold sales and
Uh-huh.
hard pushy. A lot of
Mhm.
us are. Sadly, that is what a lot of people in the industry push.
Yeah.
I know some people are like, I was never taught that. Great.
Yeah.
I'm like really impressed. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. But so many of us are cold
Right.
sales, cold DMing, that kind of stuff.
Right. Hey girl
And
messages.
so, yeah. And so I kind of tried that. And
Uh-huh.
I knew in my gut that it felt gross. It
Yeah.
was part of what made me not want to continue, multi-level marketing
Yeah.
anyways. I'm like, this just feels gross. I look back
Yeah.
in the number of people that I know from like high school and my younger
Uh-huh.
years and I messaged and I was like, hey girl.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe I did that. It's so cringy. So I tried
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I really did try to just create a warm market,
Mm-hmm.
learn to connect with people and see what
Mm-hmm.
people needed and see how I could support people. And to some degree, that's still a part of what I do.
Yeah.
But eventually I moved into what I found was my bread. What really spoke to me was
Uh-huh.
showing people. I don't just want you to trust me because I say that I'm
Yeah.
trustworthy. That would be cool
Sure.
if we could all
Yeah.
do that. But
Right.
I know that I have to earn your trust.
Yeah.
And if you don't know me, how else do I do that? I
Uh-huh.
give you something to
Sure.
show you exactly how I show up in your life as your coach. And
Yeah.
so what I started doing is I started hosting workshops where
Okay.
people could actually see um, how I act, what they
Hmm.
get energy that I share with my clients,
Right.
and then when they leave would actually have something that they walk away with, not just
Right.
some webinar that promises someday you can have this if you sign up with
Yeah.
me. I aim to show people, even if you don't show up, even
Yeah.
if you don't decide to work with me,
Uh-huh.
you still get something out of your
Um,
time with
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And that is how I choose to operate today. But
Yeah.
it was boring to see, what does it really feel like to be a salesperson? Because as
Yes.
entrepreneurs, if you don't have a team, you are also a salesperson. So
Yes. There you. Yeah.
you have to decide that you like sales.
Yeah. I'll add
But
that to your
I want
list
you to
of,
feel okay for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll add that to your list of your title, salesperson too. Um, yeah, I think, that's a really hard thing to explain to people because even for myself, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs or talking to my students, the journey to where you find your clients and how you find your clients is different for everybody. Some people are really successful on social media and showing up there, and some people are really successful on doing the cold pitching and connecting with people on LinkedIn or whatever it is. But I think one thing is common for most entrepreneurs, even product-based businesses where they're selling a physical thing, is creating that sense of community. The brands that do the best, the businesses that do the best have that sense of community. My favorite brand to talk about that does really well on this is Alani. Have you heard of Alani's, the energy drinks? I have them in my fridge. I should pull one out. This is how amazing these people are. But Alani did an amazing job not only marketing to their niche of females who are in a fitness journey of some sort, and they created their energy drinks designed around females. They're very attractive to females. They're the first thing they pick. But females, because of their brand community, what they've built, they have now have a full line of products, and women will choose their stuff over a competitor simply because they trust that brand. Not only does the brand create that sense of community, but they also do what they said they were going to do with cleaner products and products that actually work. And I think that's like such a great show for a big brand, but really can be applied to small businesses as well, like super small businesses, even solo entrepreneurs, is creating that sense of community and showing up for that community to see what you can do is really invaluable. Um, Now, when you said you give them something during the workshops, I know that's going to come up as a question. So is this something that you like physically present to them, whether it's like a PDF download, or is it just the time that you spend with them to give them that sense of like, this is who I am? Because life coaching or any sort of coaching is very personal. You really do have to get along with the coach you have with you and really enjoy their presence and their energy. So is this something that you found valuable to give them, something hard copy, so to speak, that you could give to them, or did you find it more valuable to really just have that time together?
So both. It
Hmm.
depends on the workshop. If I can give something that I've created that supports whatever we've done during the workshop, then they can
Hmm.
have that. That's
Yeah.
fine by me. So if I'm doing like time management or
Hmm.
boundary setting, and I'm trying to say, this is a chart that you could create, I
Sure.
create one so that they have
Hmm.
the visual. And then if they want it, they can have it. It's,
Yeah.
just a Google download or something simple.
Hmm.
But I think the thing that I really strive to give is an actual experience that they can go, oh, I can use that in real life. And they experience it right there in
Hmm.
the time that we're together. And then when they leave, they can actually implement that thing going forward on
Yeah.
repeat. And I
Yeah.
say that on repeat because as a life coach, I give them exercises and things that like example here. If we're doing self-care, right?
Hmm.
I'm going to show you ways that you can implement like micro moments of self-care all day long that
Yeah.
are going to rejuvenate you so that you are never really running out of energy per
Yeah.
se.
Yeah.
You're human, you're going to run out of energy, but you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, you're not going into overwhelm and burnout because you
Yeah.
know how to rejuvenate on a level so much deeper than you did coming into the workshop.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to take because you're doing it on there with me. You fully understand when you leave how to
Yeah.
use that in your life,
Yeah.
as an example.
Yeah. I love that micro moment. What do you call them? Micro moments of self-care.
Micro moments of self-care.
That's such a great idea. I love the way you worded it. There are things that I do throughout my day to kind of, I call them like whimsical moments, like little things I'll do to make my day a little bit more enjoyable. Like it sounds so silly, but putting like edible glitter in my water to just like make
So
it
cool.
pretty and like fun, and it just makes me feel, I don't know, motivated. It's like the stoop my when I purchased it on Amazon, because I can't purchase it here in person, and I haven't found it anyways in Okinawa. um my husband was like, what the heck is this for? And I was like, I want to make my water look pretty. And he was like, you're like the weirdest person. Like it just helps. Okay, just helps me get through my day. Yeah. So, yeah, I love that. I think that's a great idea. And as entrepreneurs, we hear that a lot with how to kind of get those warm leads, right? Is to do those webinars or those workshops or do the PDF downloads and all these things to start gaining the community and gaining the trust of that community. A large part of entrepreneurship is that trust and that kind of intangible feeling that you get from the person or the company you're purchasing from. That's what really creates a big difference. And I think for those looking to do anything in that sort of service-based life coaching, whatever it might be, that's really important to have that connection, because when people are giving you something that's so intimate to them, whether it's part of their business or how they run their business, it's their baby. So it feels you really need somebody who you can connect with, and you really can only do that when I truly do it. People do it on social media or whatever, but truly do it when you have that actual connection with somebody. So I think that's really, just a great way to kind of look at it, and really, for those entrepreneurs who are out there trying to figure out, how do I get that first client? a webinar, a workshop, a free download can definitely be the way to do it.
Yeah, I think all of those options are brilliant. Like I have a freebie too. It's not just the
Mhm.
workshops. I wrote a book a few years ago,
Okay.
and so I give the digital copy for free to
Hmm.
people. But I realized over time, it really depends on what you choose to do as a service or a
Hmm.
product, right? And I know that with a life coach, if you don't trust them, you're not going to get as far as you could, right? You
Right.
can't fully open up, be vulnerable, and really
Hmm.
do all the deep inner work that you need to do to move forward if you can't really trust your life coach.
Yeah.
And giving somebody a PDF of a one, two, three isn't going to do that in what
Right.
I do.
Right.
If you experience me and my energy, you can very quickly decide she's not for me or she is for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
And so, but in other industries, I think a PDF or a workbook or
Right.
something else is perfect. It just,
Yeah.
you got to decide what your clients want.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with you. There are different ways to market, and that's part of marketing is figuring out what your audience needs and how you can respond to that. And how you can collect that information from them and get them to notice what you're doing is a huge part of it. And it's different for everybody, depending on what you do or sell or provide. So absolutely. Okay, so I want to know, as you started this entrepreneurship journey, whether it was when you started the MLM or the Etsy stores or where you are now, what was something that made you feel nervous or scared about kind of going out on your own as an entrepreneur? And like, I think that's another thing people really have trouble with, which I struggle with too, is visibility, right? Like, even though I've been doing this for a long time and I can't tell you how many people come up to me. In fact, I was just at the gym yesterday. Wait, now my days are confused because it's really it's Saturday. I was at the gym and I saw somebody I've known for 15 years, which is not super common in the military, right? Like we've come back together after being separated for 15 years. And she's like, "Oh, I keep up with you on your Instagram." And I'm like, I was like, "Oh, what did I put on there that you know, that visibility of like putting yourself out there and say, hey, I'm doing this. This is my business. What made you scared or nervous about kind of like going out on your own and putting yourself out there?"
So that, exactly that.
Hmm.
And I think that's like you on repeat. I hear people saying that same thing.
Hmm.
It's, it's funny. I'm going to share my own experience
Hmm.
first, but I was afraid to put myself out there, yes, but even more than anything in front of people I knew, more so than
Yes.
people I didn't
Right.
know.
Isn't that weird that you're like, I don't want this person. I like you'd rather see strangers see you
So I would actually
something.
block certain people from my posts because
Oh,
I was like, oh, I don't want them to see what I'm doing. I don't want them
oh,
to judge me. I don't want to be
yeah.
embarrassed with
Yeah. Yeah.
who I know. And so at the very beginning, I would do that because I
Hmm.
was just so terrified of it's judgment is what it
Yeah.
comes down to. It's
Yeah.
fear of
Absolutely.
judgment.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny, it's not funny at all, but coincidentally,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was at a networking event just a few days ago,
Uh-huh.
and these were creatives. And
Okay.
being a creative, it's like displaying a piece of you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And whether it's, digital
Mhm.
or physical,
Uh-huh.
it's like displaying a little piece of yourself. And that is the
Yeah.
same thing I heard on repeat from these
Yeah.
women saying was, I don't want people that I know to see, so I only post certain places where I know they're not
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
So it just, I say that to normalize it for anybody who is like, yeah, I totally feel that.
Yeah.
You're not alone. I mean, it's very common.
Yeah.
The good news is you don't always have to stay in that, right? We learn
Yeah.
to get,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. My word of the year this year is seen because that was one thing that I realized I was like just not showing up. And I knew that when I do show up, I get the clients, I make the sales, I'm doing better in my business when I show up. It's just very hard, right? Like the visibility thing, it's fear of judgment, it's fear of something not going right and you looking like an idiot, but one thing I tell my own clients, my students, is that nobody's watching you as much as you think they are, right? And if they are, it's usually not for the right reasons. So like we hear this all the time. So you might as well give them a show, right? So yeah, so if you're like showing up on socials, on whatever you're showing up on, most people are not seeing it. And if they are seeing it, you have two camps. They either don't like you and there's nothing you can do about it, or they love you and they are cheering you on and they want to see what you're doing because they admire you or they are inspired by you or whatever it is. So that fear of visibility is a really hard thing to get over and through. And I know for me, it's something I kind of just had to be like, suck it up, Lauren. Who cares? But for others, utilizing someone like a life coach may help you get through that hump of the visibility and the being able to show up and be seen as an entrepreneur or whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, it could be even in your corporate job, just showing up as a leader. So yeah, I think something we all kind of struggle with.
Most definitely. And some people will just get over it on their own. So it's confidence for some people, right?
Uh-huh.
You build confidence by doing. The
Yeah.
more you do a thing, the more confident you become in it. And naturally, you're just going to get comfortable and you're going to be
Yeah.
okay. And for a vast majority, like 80% of entrepreneurs, we have something called imposter syndrome,
Oh
which
gosh, yes.
have a
I
very
don't know
big.
anybody who doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people confuse imposter syndrome with self-doubt.
Yeah.
And well, that's not necessarily a huge issue. I mean, they're all connected.
Hmm.
But if you're truly wanting to overcome it and you're just doing some mindset things
Yeah.
to appease the self-doubt or to calm the
Hmm.
self-doubt, that imposter syndrome keeps showing up for you.
Yeah. Sure. That
So
makes sense.
knowing that it's a deeper level
Mhm.
than self-doubt,
Yeah.
to understand that there's a bit of a deeper level of work that needs to be done.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but if that's a thing that keeps people from showing up, even though they've
Hmm.
done the thing and kind of thought that they were building the confidence, and why
Yeah.
isn't the confidence coming at this point? It's
Yeah.
because you've probably got some imposter syndrome going on there, and that imposter syndrome's a beast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that completely makes sense. I mean, I never really thought about the difference between imposter syndrome and self-doubt. I've tried to be like really mindful of why I'm doing or not doing something, and even like subconsciously. And I did realize, which may be the deeper level of imposter syndrome, that part of the reason I will go and like I'll just start to make these reels or do these things, but I don't ever publish them, right? They're just sit in my drafts and I don't ever do anything with them. And with some, meditation and really like thinking about, okay, why is this happening? Like I'm making the content but I'm just not hitting publish. And it
Mhm.
really is that it's part of not feeling confident, whether it's self-doubt or maybe some imposter syndrome that I'm not like the actual people that you see on social media that's like perfectly curated. Maybe my reels aren't good enough. Um, yeah, I think that's part of it is kind of that maybe not so much self-doubt, but really imposter syndrome that I'm not there where where I want to be yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so when you are coaching, what do you find to be like the most common situation new entrepreneurs face, or like that you feel is something that many people are working through in terms of like starting their business or working through their entrepreneurship?
So, oh, that's a loaded question. So I would say, okay, so number one, I would say the imposter syndrome is a huge thing that I
Okay,
tell
yeah. Yeah.
with whether they're new to business or not. It
Hmm. Hmm.
show up no matter how far you get in business
Yeah,
if you don't heal
right.
it, so to speak. Um, and some of it is just not really being clear. So many of us go into business. You might be able to
Hmm.
relate to this. We
Yeah.
go into business because we like the thing that we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a coach. Did I know how to market or
Yeah.
sell
Yeah.
or create digital whatever, right?
Right.
Content or any of the
Hmm.
things? No clue.
Yeah.
No clue. And so that is a huge problem, I think, for people going into entrepreneurship for the love of the specific thing that they're
Hmm.
going to be
Hmm.
doing, and then quickly realizing, okay, this isn't enough. What's
Yeah.
happening? How come
Right.
things aren't moving? What are all these other things I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be doing? That's
Yeah.
big. So going in and understanding if you're doing it on your own, you're not just a coach or
Yeah.
a VA or
Hmm.
whatever the thing
Yeah.
is, especially, if it's just you, you're all the things. And
Yeah.
so having some clarity, you don't have to be an expert in all the things.
Hmm.
Eventually,
Hmm.
you're going to hire people and they will be your experts.
Yeah.
But having the understanding that you're going to be doing a lot more than just the specific thing you're in love with,
Right.
I think so many people get tripped up there because they just are completely unaware that that's what's awaiting them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of what we talk about at the Startup Collective is that overwhelm of really kind of the tech stack. Like you have this dream of what you want to do, the business you want to have, the product or the service you want to provide, but like, okay, what's next?
Mhm.
How do you do, okay, I need a website. What? Like I need to get on social media. How do I do social media management? All of these things that really can stop a small business dreamer in their tracks and be like, I don't think I can do this. We all, those of us who started off as solo entrepreneurs or are solo entrepreneurs, we were all in the same boat. Most of us did not come in having the skills of, in marketing or sales to start. We just figured it out along the way. We said yes and we did it, and that's how it goes. But with the help of a coach or courses or whatever, with courses for tech stack and a coach to say, okay, let's figure out why you're feeling this way and let's see what tangible things we can do, actionable items we can do to help you get past this. Um, Entrepreneurs are in such a better place than they would be on their own.
Oh, yeah, they can take a much more expedited route, right?
Hmm.
You can build the thing on your own. You can
Yeah.
piecemeal. So many of us do.
Hmm.
Um, I did because I was hard-headed and a little bit, lacking knowledge.
Yeah.
Or you can, if it's on
Yeah.
your heart, you can hire somebody like a coach or a mentor or what
Yeah.
have you, and the process is exponentially faster.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like hiring somebody. I mean, within your business, no matter what, one, it's an investment, right? So it's an investment in your business. Honestly, with a life coach, investment in yourself. So that's a huge positive. But it's also something, when your car breaks down, how many of us watch YouTube to like figure it out on our own, right? We take it to somebody who's an expert and it's done a heck of a lot faster. We might have to pay for it a little bit, but it's done faster and it's done better. So having that knowledge of like, hey, maybe somebody can help me through this, um, can make it faster and it probably will make it better or be
Yeah,
better. Yeah.
agreed.
Um, so yeah, I love this so much. I think, being a entrepreneur is a scary thing, especially when you're first getting started, and having a life coach to help you get through some of those hurdles of, okay, not only your own personal, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, or anything else that you might be healing from life experiences. And then also your entrepreneur journey of like, okay, well, if this is happening in your personal life or has happened, or we're dealing with this, how is this affecting you in business? And where can we move on from there? So invaluable. And you really have to do your homework on if a coach is the right one for you, what that coach provides, how, like we talked about, the coach's energy and your personal feelings, because it is such a personal connection with a coach. So I'd love to hear about what types of services you provide as a coach, what that kind of looks like to work with you, and then where we can find you.
Okay, I'd love to. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
So I have a couple entry points to working with me. The first one is it's a 3-hour workshop.
Okay.
It's I'm gonna keep this as brief as I can. I'm not My strong suit is not being succinct.
No,
Before.
me too,
Okay.
but you're fine. Go. We
I
have
call it
time.
a goal setting workshop, but
Oh,
it's not.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
I call it a goal setting workshop.
Oh, okay. I thought you said bone setting, and I was like,
No,
wait.
no, not
I
a
mean,
chiropractor.
that could be like, the bones of your business. Okay,
Okay,
good. Sorry.
structure. Yeah, okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Not what it is though.
Yeah.
It's maybe in a roundabout way. So let me just lay it out.
Yeah.
Um, on the surface, it's a goal setting workshop.
Hmm.
When you dig deeper, it is getting into the limiting beliefs, the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, the lack of clarity, all of the things. And so we
Hmm.
spend 3 hours together in a group setting,
Okay.
um, setting the goals in your individual business. So it's very
Hmm.
personalized. Each
Hmm.
person walks away with a very personalized plan.
Okay.
And what they walk away with is, at a bare minimum, the next steps to take in their business to
Got it.
continue or start growth.
Hmm.
So goal setting really just doesn't do it justice, but
Yeah.
it's kind of that's what the surface level is.
Sure.
Um, that's a really easy entry point to be like,
Hmm.
do I really want to work with this lady or not? Is
Yeah.
she really the coach for me or not?
Hmm.
And because it's free.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's the option, but
Yeah.
it's free. Or I have a group if somebody was like really gun ho, they're like, no, no, give me the stuff. I'm ready to dive
Yeah.
in. I have a group coaching program. It's
Okay.
6 months long, and we do all the things. We do strategy, but more than anything else, we do all of the inner work. It's
Okay.
personal development that really, like you just said, it rolls into all areas of your life.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're bettering yourself as a person, you're bettering yourself as a business owner, you're bettering yourself in all of your relationships. And
Sure.
so everything in your life expands and improves.
Hmm.
But we do it with a focus on how do you do it to build
Yep.
your business, to, have
Hmm.
that business.
Yeah. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that is wonderful. The opportunity to kind of like get that's such a long workshop. 3 hours is a long time, but that
It's
really gives
5 days.
you.
And so
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I've scaled it down. I tried to make it as bite-sized as I could and
Sure.
still like a lot of power behind it.
Yeah. No, but that's so valuable, and it really does give an opportunity to get to know you and how you coach and what you can provide, which I think is really, and like we talked about, really important to just get to know your coach and get to know what they can do for you. That's great. So yeah, are you in a coaching session right now? You said every 6 months you do one, or it takes 6 months. Do you do multiple, or how does that kind of work?
So the group that I have right now is actually evergreen.
Okay.
So yeah, so so for anybody who's not familiar with the term, just means you can essentially join at any point.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. And then they spend 6 months with you during that time?
Yep. Six
Okay.
months, we do weekly group coaching. I offer one-on-one sessions for my group coaching clients. So they
Okay.
really do get the individualized coaching.
Hmm.
Any they want to talk about that feels a little vulnerable, they don't want to share in a group setting, they have the
Sure.
opportunity to do that in one-on-one sessions with me. And then I
Okay.
have Voxer coaching. So they have full support in between. I just one more point on that. One
Sure.
of the things that I really try to drive home with people is you can have fantastic layout of your goals.
Yeah.
And most of us are not going to reach them if we don't have the proper level of accountability.
Hmm. Hmm.
So within my program, I strive to make sure that every level of accountability that is necessary for somebody
Hmm.
to attain all of the goals that they've set for themselves is provided to them. So
Okay.
we do the weekly check-ins on the
Hmm.
group coaching calls, but I also have touch points through Voxer during the week. So there's
Okay.
I don't Voxer is an app where we can
Yeah.
message each other. And so that accountability piece is huge in what I
Hmm.
provide clients.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important to note too, because I've seen some coaching programs or seen some coaches out there that they have these group coaching sessions, and that's really it. And it's really the coach just kind of talking at them and not really giving them anything tangible to work with. And sometimes these coaches are charging, 5 figures for group coaching, and it's insane that a person gets like nothing out of it. So I think accountability, those tangible actions of like you do this by this time or however you have it set up, is really valuable because we don't really like to disappoint people. So having that kind of accountability partner, so to speak, is really, really helpful, especially when starting business, because it's really easy to let life, if you are an entrepreneur who doesn't have a brick and mortar that you're going to every day and you're building your business within your own regular life, which many of us typically do, especially those of us who are moms building a business, it's really hard to like dedicate yourself to your business stuff. So having that accountability can really be helpful and useful.
Yeah, it's really easy to get swept away in all the other things,
Yeah.
motherhood, being a military spouse, right? Supporting your
Yeah.
service member and all of the things.
Yeah.
Really hard to get swept away in all of that.
Mhm.
Easy to go, I'll come back to this tomorrow. Oh,
Yeah.
nobody else is impacted. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll get to it next week. I'll restart next month, right?
Yeah.
And it matters
Yeah.
because you matter.
Right.
And so you're inherently, okay, I don't want to get too deep into this, but
Yeah.
essentially push off the things that matter to you. You are subconsciously telling yourself, I don't matter as much as everybody else.
Right.
And that's not true.
Right. No, that's a wonderful way to look at it. I saw something on Instagram that is kind of like in that accountability phase or, space
Mhm.
of if you told your job you would be at work at 7 a.m., you'd be at work at 7 a.m. So why aren't you doing the same for your business? If you say you're going to do something by a certain date, and I'm so guilty of this, I literally have a brand that I had a logo done over a year ago that I've done nothing with because I have just put other things ahead of it. And I think a lot of us do that with like motherhood, military life. It is so easy to not stay accountable on the things that you need to do for your business,
Yeah.
for sure. Awesome. Well, tell us where we can find you.
Okay, so I have two favorite places to connect with people.
Mhm.
One of them is my YouTube channel. And so that's Heather Jones Coaching. If you search Heather Jones Coaching, you're going to find me on YouTube.
Great.
Or I have a podcast that is the exact same content. It's
Okay.
just audio format.
Yeah.
And that's not actually called Heather Jones Coaching. It's like the only place on earth I'm not called Heather Jones Coaching. It's Purpose, Power, and Productivity, a Mompreneur's Mission.
Oh,
Same.
lovely. Yeah.
Thank you. And then otherwise, you can find me at pretty most of the common social media
Uh-huh.
platforms. And the best way to find me there is Heather Jones Coaching, or just go to my website, which directs you to all of those. And that's
Perfect.
heatherjonescoaching.com. So
Awesome.
you
Easy,
get the point. It's
easy,
pretty easy to
easy.
find me.
Yeah, great. We'll put everything in the show notes for sure for everyone to connect with you and get in touch with you. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and taking time. It's your Sunday, so taking time out of your Sunday to sit down with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to get this up and have other small business streamers listen and learn from you. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Heather.
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope we gave you some valuable insight into building and growing your own business. Head over to the Startup Collective to learn more about building your business from the ground up. We teach you how to get started in your business to include designing a high converting website, creating your email marketing, growing your audience and customer base through social media and digital marketing, and even business photography and more. If you're in the scaling phase of your business, join our Grow Your Own Business group coaching. We will give you weekly tasks and accountability in growing your business the right way, and we actually show you how to do it. Visit us at thestartupcollective.co today and follow us on Instagram at The Startup Collective. Dream, start, build, and grow. See you next time.